Hey y'all, this is Kobe R. Rice, and I'm back again finally with another creative update. It has been almost a little over 2 weeks, and I'm so sorry I've been away from you guys. It has not been intentional, it's just grad school as usual, particularly weeks 7 and 8 for graduate school, which were pretty insane. Spent the first 6 weeks basically going nonstop, lots of work, lots of stuff for my dramaturgical theater production, a lot of grading, and now I am sort of recuperating from all of that. Actually, this particular week is a lot better with regard to me having a lot more energy and me being more on point with everything I have to do. So I'm sorry for being absent for the last 2 weeks. Generally, weeks 7 and 8 are the hardest weeks in the semester every single fall because our particular program, our school, does not have a mid semester break. So that's usually when everybody is having their basically their mid semester breakdowns, and I am not unique amongst them. Sometimes I feel like Superwoman, but I certainly needed to take a step back. And I'll tell you guys about sort of what happened at the top of week 7 in just a minute. So today, though, we're going to talk about holding companies and subsidiaries, specifically with regard to some fantastic new mini developments that have sprung up from my work on Rebel Ragdoll, and I mean the infrastructure of Rebel Ragdoll specifically. You guys know that in addition to being an author and a filmmaker and a game designer, just sort of like on an independent level and on an individual level, I'm also trying to build out Rebel Ragdoll, which is, again, my multimedia brand that essentially is trying to increase the impact and presence of women in entertainment and media, both in front of the camera or in front of the computer and behind it. So I have some interesting little tidbits of information for you guys in case you guys are trying to establish multiple companies ever or multiple subsidiaries. Like, you might be wondering how to try to organize those. And I am not a lawyer, obviously, so don't come back and sue me if you don't end up liking your organization structure. However, I have been doing more and more research on basically how I want my company to be structured, and I just wanted to share that those conclusions with you. So first, we're going to do basically a rundown and update of the past 2 weeks, just generally of what I've been achieving from a creative achievement standpoint. And then I'm going to talk to you guys more about holding companies and subsidiaries, and then the final part of this podcast is going to deal with a lot of the political situations that have been popping up and cropping up in the past 2 weeks. And even though this is not primarily a political podcast, I think it's really important to address the major issues that affect us. Issues having to do with race, issues having to do with sexual assault, and also issues having to do with safety, gun violence and things like that. And, these past 2 weeks have been pretty big news-wise with regard to all three of those areas. And we're going to talk about it. Now, again, for those of you who are either not interested in that part of the podcast, who don't really share my point of view, or who just hate politics, that is totally fine. I'm going to leave that to the very end of the podcast so we can all collectively enjoy the updates and the discussion on, corporate structuring. It sounds so boring, but it's actually kind of fun. At the beginning, and then once we're done with that, you guys can choose to either stay or you can choose to kind of go about your business, because I don't want to bombard people with my political views, but I do want to talk about them, so I put them at the end. Okay, so this is, and welcome to episode number 44 of the epic, fantastical journey of a Black female sci-fi writer. And we are going to talk about, again, holding companies and subsidiaries for creatives. But just to kick it off, these past 2 weeks, as I told you guys before, were chock full of graduate school craziness. But even amongst that, I was able to get certain sort of mini victories out of it, right? The first one being is that I finished, for the most part, my second film assignment for my editing class. And basically, we had to edit together two slightly bigger scenes into like a 20-minute short film, which was actually pretty good. It's called Sucker Punch. And that was really enlightening in a lot of ways and fun, because with this particular project, we not only got the footage, we also got wild sounds, ambient sounds. We also got music to cut in. And so, and the coverage in the film was decent, but it wasn't as extensive as I would have preferred it to be. So there were a lot of challenges with regard to, basically trying to create two segments that were seamless, that worked, and wherein the sound flowed pretty well. So that was definitely a challenge for me. My skills are still pretty rough. There are certain things that I still need to get down, like a lot of the shortcuts, which as I think of now, it's so easy, the sort of things that I'm struggling with. But again, I've only really been in this class a total of 8 weeks with limited time to put towards the editing portion of it. So, learning everything by heart and developing that muscle memory is still basically in progress. So a lot of things that feel really difficult right now are actually pretty simple conceptually in terms of moving things around in Avid and creating transitions or what have you. But for me, it's still a major challenge. Another thing that sort of happened, and actually this happened on Monday, but I'll just roll it in, is that we had to submit and present a 12-minute presentation on a particular scene. We had to do basically an editing analysis where we go through the clip and we go shot by shot and explain why the shots were cut in the way they were and how the shots set up a narrative. And because I just love this movie so much, I chose The Raid 2. Actually, The Raid and The Raid 2 are my top 2 action films of all time. I literally believe that those are amongst the best action films ever created, ever. And I am a huge action buff and a Hong Kong martial arts and action film buff. So I've seen a lot of action movies, pretty much all of them, and I've seen a lot of Hong Kong badass movies. I would say the grand majority of them. And I love them all, but The Raid really brought a lot of really amazing new things to the table. You guys have heard me mention this before when I was talking about my influences in becoming an action film director, and The Raid single-handedly was what lit a fire under my ass. Like, I always sort of wanted to do these things, but seeing The Raid made me realize that this is something that I could do, and that there are people out there making action films in exactly the way that I want to make them, in exactly the kind of voice that I want to make them, with the same dark and gritty themes. And so I picked The Raid 2, the hallway fight. And I'm not even going to spoil it for you guys. If you haven't seen either movie, go see it now. Just go get your life. It's a little bloody, so just be aware and be prepared for that. But I won't break any of the scenes down here because I don't want to ruin it. But the hallway fight scene in The Raid 2 towards the end is amazing. Nothing short of incredible. And I chose that to break down. And as I was doing this project, I mean, we only had to write a 400 to 1,000 word analysis, but I ended up writing 8 pages, y'all. Like 8 double-spaced pages for literally a 2-minute, 30-second clip from the hallway scene. That, for me, like, kicked off 8 pages of editing analysis and filled up almost 13 minutes of presentation time. And I just realized just how much I love film and how much I love action in particular. And I just really got into the assignment and went above and beyond. And it just sort of knowing that you're on the right track, that your instincts about what you want to do are on point, is really refreshing, and just being able to dive into something that you are so passionate about and share your passion with the class, because I was really exuberant during my presentation, to me is incredible. And I actually learned a lot for myself personally as a director, as an editor, from taking that one scene and analyzing it. So for me, that's sort of a creative achievement, because it's helping me to grow, not just in my skill set and analytical skill set, but just sort of emotionally and in my level of passion for what I want to do. So I consider that an achievement, and I was really excited about that. There wasn't anything else major that happened in the past 2 weeks with graduate school, except for the fact that I survived and I finished grading those terrible papers, which now I have a new stack. The papers themselves, like, the quality wasn't terrible, but they're terrible because they, like, ate up my life. Anyway, I also worked on Immortal, which is the 13-episode independent sci-fi fantasy series that I am developing sort of in the shadows for Rebel Ragdoll Productions. Again, this is probably something that's not going to get produced in the next year or two, but will be ready for production over the next year or two. And I'm really excited because I finally sort of hit, when you're when you're a writer and you're trying to sort of put together story elements, develop a plot line, develop characters, build worlds, there's a point at which you're just sort of slamming your pickaxe into the ground and just trying to hit your stride, find that vein of gold, essentially. And I finally found a vein of gold after hitting this pickaxe against the ground for like the past month or two. So instead of like kind of grabbing random details, I feel like my mind has finally found like a storyline that's sort of rich with a lot of possibility. And it's just been nice after slamming that pickaxe into the ground, hitting, some vein of gold that I can find and dig up and sift through and save and put to the side or whatever. So that's really exciting, and that's been really great. On the flip side, in the past 2 weeks, in the first 2 weeks of October, I have not gotten that much actual prose writing done. It's been nigh impossible. I know that kind of sounds like an excuse, and I guess it sort of is, but I think I got a total of 765 words written in those 2 weeks, and I'm not counting like words that I wrote for outlines and everything like that. I'm talking about actual words that I can put towards a final word count. And almost 600 of those words were written for my Plot Like a Badass nonfiction book. Only 171 words were written towards the Books of Ezekiel series. So, I'm not really that happy about that. I'm trying to find a way to make more time and stay on top of my daily writing schedule. But, as you guys know, it's pretty hard when I do a lot of things, and mostly graduate school takes up like 80% of my time. And then by the time I'm done with it, I'm too sort of intellectually and spiritually tired to put anything out there. So I'm going to try to change up my schedule, maybe get up an hour earlier in the morning just to write a nice 500 word thing every single day, and then go about my business. That's what I'm going to try to do, because I just don't want to sit on this series. I don't want to sit on Hollow Point anymore, and I just need to sort of find a way to manage all of this. Let's see. Okay, so a brief commercial break to let you guys know that in addition to working on everything else, I've been managing New Adult Noir, which is a must because it is a business and it needs my daily, if not weekly, attention. And just to remind you guys, we have a lot of really great promotions going on this month. We have the Fright Fest giveaway, which is really going very well. And we are giving away an Amazon Echo Dot as the grand prize, along with an entire lot of spooky ebooks. On top of that, everyone who enters gets a prize, which is amazing. So even if you don't win the grand prize or the first prize, which is a larger lot of spooky ebooks, you will still win something when joining this giveaway, because that's sort of how I like to run them. everybody should be a winner, right? But if you don't join the giveaway, you do not have a chance of getting selected for winning the grand prize. And I think an Echo Dot is a really amazing prize. You can listen to your music on it, but you could also listen to a selection of amazing audiobooks on it, which is really wonderful if you want to listen to your spooky ebook collection, but in audio format. So make sure you go to newadultnoir.com. That's NEWADULTNOIR.com to join that giveaway as soon as possible. It will be closing on October 31st, right before midnight at 11:59 and 59 seconds p.m. So make sure you jump into that. Similarly, for those of you who want more and more free stuff, and I don't blame you if you do, we also have our October batch of free dark and gritty novels available at newadultnoir.com. So, and these are not the same novels that are being offered as consolation prizes for the giveaway. These are all new different novels. So if you're looking for some new dark and gritty reads that you're interested in the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, horror, or sci-fi, fantasy, horror, romance, and erotica, definitely go to newadultnoir.com and just click the books to download them and get your free selection of dark and gritty reads. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. Oh, excuse me. And we're going to be offering those free reads every single month as a part of how we show our appreciation to you guys as readers. So go over and check it out. And then the other promo that we have going on that I have been working on is the series discovery promo, which has been up and running for the past 2 weeks. And you guys definitely need to go over there, get your lives, discover 10 amazing new series that are in science fiction, alternative history, dark fantasy, epic fantasy, sci-fi, fantasy and horror romance, shifter romance. Now, these series are not free, but usually the first book in the series are. And so what we do for our series discovery promo is present brand new series to you guys, for those of you who just don't want to read one book and be finished, for those of you who are looking to dive into a completely different brand and a new world and a new storyline. This is the promo for you. Go and pick up those series today. Again, we have 10 amazing series by 10 amazing authors in all different genres that are dark and gritty and also deal with sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. So jump into that as well. So I hope that for those of you who are listening to this podcast and looking at this vlog, if you're not interested in things that are dark and gritty, but you know somebody who is, please send them over to New Adult Noir. For our readers, pretty much everything that we offer is absolutely 100% free. And we also are going to be working on improving the frequency of blog post reviews and individual author features come 2018. For those of you who are looking for like the hot new reads that you wouldn't find out about otherwise. So we are looking to expand in that area. But the big kicker here is that in 2018, New Adult Noir will also be expanding to dark and gritty video games and dark and gritty films in the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. We'll also be expanding our repertoire to like action as well, because I feel like dark and gritty action is something I really want to get into, talk about, just live and breathe. And so we really do want to be that hub for you guys who are interested in sort of the dark, hard-hitting, noir, gritty stories. And we want to do that across the media of publishing, filmmaking, and game design. So if you're a reader, or if you are a film addict or a gamer, this is a blog for you. So check us out now, and also stay tuned to us in the future. And that has been what I have been working on as well this October, in addition to everything else. So let's see. Is there anything else I want to update you guys on? Oh, for those of you who are still interested in grabbing all the free reads you want during the holiday season, remember that we have our 25 days of box sets giveaway coming up. We literally have right now over 250 participating authors who will be offering their books either in a box set form together by genre or individually on instafreebie.com. So if you're a reader and you're looking to literally stack up your shelves with the most amazing reads of all time across all different sci-fi, fantasy, and horror genres, this is the giveaway for you. So please stay tuned. It will be kicking off officially on December 1st, opening with our first major box set in science fiction, and we will continue to reveal one new box set per day of Christmas from December 1st to the 25th, with a lovely special edition box set on the final day of Christmas. So please stay tuned to that. And if you are an author and you want to join either portion of the giveaway, whether that be the Insta Freebie portion, which is level 1, or the box set bundle portion, where you put your novel in a bundle with other authors in your genre, which is level 2, please feel free to join through the links below. I have a link to the level 1 participation site and the level 2 site for any authors who want to do either or both. So, make sure you join up with us as soon as possible, because we are working on our covers. We're working on getting the bundles together. We're organizing all the marketing pushes and everything like that. And we will be closing the applications pretty much mid-November. So you only really have a little less than a month to go. Even if you have a month, though, there are certain box sets that are already filling up, and I am about to close. The dystopian genre box set is practically full, so I have to do a little bit of calculation on that front, but that will be closing very soon, because we are like literally at 20 novels right now. So if you want to join the dystopian box set, or if you want to join the shifter romance, paranormal romance, or urban fantasy box set, join as soon as possible, because those box sets in particular are very popular with the authors who are participating. And I'm only going to include up to, 15 novels per box set. So if you want to be one of those novels in the box set and reach literally thousands of readers, for the giveaway, then you need to apply literally as soon as possible. Okay, so that was my little news break / creative update. And now I am gonna talk. Let me see. Am I really done? Am I done with that? Yay! Okay, let's talk about holding companies. Yay! So, as you guys know, I am building up Rebel Ragdoll, and I've been sort of trying to find a way to properly and sort of neatly organize my entire company and its 7 potential subsidiaries. So just to sort of refresh your memories, Rebel Ragdoll, as it stands right now, is a multimedia brand and an umbrella company that is essentially going to serve as the holding company. That's the structure that we have decided on for its 7 subsidiaries, which include Rebel Ragdoll Press, which deals with publishing; Rebel Ragdoll Productions, which deals with filmmaking for film and TV; Chick Rogue Studios, which will deal with game design and game development, as well as app design and VR and AR development. It will also be covering The Bohemian Badass, which is the creative, education, and training arm of Rebel Ragdoll. So we sell products, we sell content, we sell IPs, we sell novels, games, and films, but we also invest in teaching you guys how to make those same things as well. And The Bohemian Badass is a subsidiary that deals with the teaching and creative education aspect of the business. There will also be the Dollhouse Foundation, which will be a non-for-profit 501c3, which essentially is going to serve as the philanthropic and charitable arm of Rebel Ragdoll, and will offer scholarships and support, both fiscal, social, emotional, psychological, and business support to single creative mothers who want to build their careers as artists, as filmmakers, as game designers, as novelists, as if you're a fine artist or a dancer or whatever, like that organization is set up specifically to help give you some scholarships and some support, but also to give you some support as a mother as well, because there aren't really many outlets that actively try to build single mothers up for the long term. And so the Dollhouse Foundation is a non-for-profit under the auspices of Rebel Ragdoll that will deal with giving back to the community. The two final subsidiaries, which are in development and haven't really been launched or open or released yet, include Miscellany, which is going to deal with pretty much all of the merchandise, and fashion and accessories and maybe some natural products that have to do with the Rebel Ragdoll brand. And I know this sounds a little weird, like why is Colby dipping her toe into, fashion, merchandise, and natural products and accessories? And actually, I just want to let you guys know the reason for that is it's not that I'm trying to make an entire fashion career out of Miscellany. It's that we're a company that serves and deals with women. And for me, a part of being an amazing, confident, boss girl, boss woman is feeling confident about like how you look, how you, take care of yourself. Providing not just opportunities to create things, but to like look cute and to have inspiring images of yourself and of the company around you. So Miscellany will be dealing with just very minimal but really awesome sort of skincare, natural skincare products. We're going to be doing lip glosses and maybe nail polishes. That's probably going to be the extent of our like makeup line, unless we get super big and I can develop like our own natural makeup line, which would be amazing. But we'll also be selling a lot of Rebel Ragdoll inspired merchandise, like not just t-shirts and tote bags, but like the really cute flowy tops, some really awesome like gym bags, just like merchandise and accessories that are a bit more fashionable, and not just sort of what you can get off of Vistaprint and Society 6, both of which are amazing. So don't get me wrong. I would kill to have a Rebel Ragdoll production spiral notebook right now. Okay. So, I'm not hating on that, but we're not just going to stop there. We're going to be dealing in couture fashion at some point. Again, not right now, but down the line. And handbags, boots, shoes, just stuff like that. And so I do at some point want to make connections with female fashion designers who are running their businesses independently and who are looking to sell or license their designs to Rebel Ragdoll. And that is what Miscellany will cover as subsidiary number 6. Again, to be founded in the distant future. And then that actually should have been subsidiary number 7, because New Adult Noir, as it stands right now, is our subsidiary, our last subsidiary. And that definitely needs to be incorporated under the umbrella of Rebel Ragdoll, because that is the subsidiary that is growing the fastest, both conceptually and financially. So I'm very proud to say that we have hit the 4-figure mark in just under 5 months. And actually, we hit the 4-figure mark in under 3 months. But now that New Adult Noir has been around since essentially June, and it's October, I'm just trying to be accurate with my sales reports and whatever. And I really have been inspired to try to set a goal, not just for New Adult Noir, but for all the subsidiaries that I'm establishing, and for the whole holding company as a whole. I'm setting a goal to add an extra 0, to my overall company income every single year. So this year we had a 4-figure year. Next year, my goal is to have a 5-figure year. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to get on and popping. And I'm really excited about that. So those are the 7 subsidiaries: Rebel Ragdoll Press, Productions, Chick Rogue Studios, The Bohemian Badass, the Dollhouse Foundation, New Adult Noir, and the Miscellany outlet. And because I have this sort of major dream of being this media fempire run for women by women, it wasn't enough just to sit down and plan out each subsidiary and start producing, development slates and projects for each subsidiary. I had to have a corporate structure. So after doing research, I had decided on, again, making Rebel Ragdoll the overall holding company for all of these subsidiaries, and then individually incorporating each subsidiary as an LLC, which is a limited liability company. For me, incorporating as an LLC is a better option than incorporating as like a doing business as or as a sole proprietorship, because if anybody ever wants to sue me or has any beef or grievances with any of my subsidiaries, they get to sue the company. They don't get to sue me. It also has some really amazing taxation benefits where you don't get doubly taxed as an individual and as a company. There are opportunities also to have some really amazing write-off opportunities if I'm using any of my resources, taking trips, having meetings, using my home space for any of the company activities. I can write that off as a company expense, which is great. It's really great. And so the next step, now that I sort of know what the structure is that I want to have for Rebel Ragdoll, is to meet with the lawyers here in Tucson. And I think I'm actually going to start off by going to the law school and the law centers on campus to help, basically just to get more information that's free, but that's also informed, and to, basically start off at a steady jog as opposed to as a full-fledged sprint into this incorporation process that's going to take, I would say, at least a couple months to do. I also need to talk to tax attorney and accountants just to make sure that this is the proper structure for my company and for my life. I know that I think after a certain number of years, at least in certain states, even if you're not making money, sometimes your company just gets taxed just for existing. So these are things that I really need to clarify with some of the legal services on campus and off campus. So that's sort of the next step. And I look forward to keeping you guys basically updated on that process and my progress. So again, this is just sort of one of the many, many, many small steps I am taking to build up Rebel Ragdoll as the fempire I am dreaming it's going to be. And if you guys have any input, any feedback, any resources that I can look into, that would also be really amazing. So I'm really excited about that. Another thing that is coming is the development of the Rebel Ragdoll Productions internship program. And that will come after I have officially incorporated my production house with all the paperwork and everything like that. Because I think it's important to draw local female or female identifying talent from Tucson, from the University of Arizona. But I also, if I can't, afford to pay people right now, then I definitely want to be able to give them not just film credit, but also class credit, because some of them have to do internships or whatever. And I have some really amazing internship opportunities set up. But I want to make sure that I develop the program well enough and structure it well enough so that everybody's getting something really incredible out of that program. And so that is forthcoming. I'm not going to talk too much about it on this podcast, but you guys should hear more about that come January of 2018. Okay, and so for those of you who are interested in, again, incorporation for your own business empires or corporate structuring, I found it really helpful to go to YouTube and listen to vlogs and blogs and videos and tutorials on this topic. I also highly encourage reading, but I find that when you combine reading with listening and you expose yourself to different teaching styles and different ways in which people are going to break the process down, you absorb things a little more easily. So definitely check that out. If you want the resources that I used, I'll put them in the comments below. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the politics of what's been going on, but I think what I'll do is actually do another episode, a separate episode that I will record and upload this week, as opposed to appending it to this particular podcast. One, because I have to get ready to go to school, and two, because I realize I just have a lot of thoughts on gun violence, a lot of thoughts on Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too campaign, and a lot of thoughts on that just tone deaf Dove commercial. If you haven't seen the Dove commercial that has come out recently, people are outraged. Just Google Dove commercial controversy and you'll see what I'm talking about. I have some perspectives that you actually might find surprising, depending on what you think of me and my politics. But that's what I'll do. I will end this podcast right now because I feel like I've gotten everything out that I need to get out. And I will join you guys at some point, probably on Friday morning or something like that, with a special intermediary podcast on the political situation in this country right now. So for those of you who are not into politics, you have been spared. In the meantime, stay badass, keep it indie, keep writing and keep hustling. And if you have a dream, especially if it's to build something from nothing, literally just take it one day, 1 hour, 1 minute, one step, one brick at a time. That's how empires are built. They're not built in a day, and they're built little by little by little. Do at least one thing a day to move your empire forward, whatever that is, and to move your endeavors forward, whatever those are. And in the meantime, take care. I will talk to you guys soon, sometime this Friday, and I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye-bye. Mwah.